Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to the moment you have all been waiting for. Today, we announce the winner of the Automate, or the winners, excuse me, there are multiple, of the Automate for Good Hackathon. This Automate for Good Hackathon has been going on for about 2 months now. Started after Chef Conf. We had 2 months of hard work and dedication from all of these teams, and it's all coming together today when we announce who takes home the grand prizes. Today, I am joined by my colleagues, and they were also mentors and or judges of the hackathon. Gonna kind of go round robin and just have everyone introduce themselves and talk about what they did and what role they played in the hackathon. So let's start with you, Dan.
Yeah, I find the mute button somewhere. Uh, yeah. So back in the room, brain. Thank you very much. Uh, Ask me a question again because I was completely zoned out and in the middle of a Slack thread because
It's my
Slack
fault.
is
It's
a
my
deal of my
fault.
life.
It's
It
my
was.
fault.
Oh,
I was like, yeah, I'll just go and brush up on it. I was just totally away,
my bad. I caught you off
which
guard.
never
Kind of
happens on stream normally because I'm usually like
tuned in all the
in it to
way.
win it.
Yeah, no, it's
As I
all
did.
good. Just kind of want to have everybody introduce themselves and talk about, well, so everybody pretty much knows you, but if you don't, want to kind of go over what you've done, or what your role was in the hackathon.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen me on stream before, also if you're not on stream before, you should totally tune in to this channel on a weekly basis. In fact, we are on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week, so do that. Uh, for the hackathon, I was a judge. I've been in the chef community for around, I'm going to say 8 years, but it might have actually been longer than that. Generally, I do sous chef stuff, and in the past year, I've been doing senior dev route at Chef Progress, which has been super, super cool. Uh, for the hackathon stuff, I've been focusing on kind of infra things because that's where my background is. Yeah, anything else I've missed there? Probably should be okay.
That should
Yeah,
be okay. Go
sweet.
ahead and pass it to the next person.
I will let John have the next one.
Thanks, Dan. I'm John Tonello. You probably have seen me in the Hackathon channel being a mentor. I do technical marketing here at Chef. Happy to be part of the group.
Yeah, and all the great tutorial videos are John's work. Thank
Yeah,
you so
John is currently the voiceover king. It's I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it's beautiful.
I don't know why you'd say that.
much. Benny, how about you?
Let's see. I run the DevRel team here. So Kaya and Dan are my people. I like John too, and also Trevor. Listen. In terms of role here during the hackathon, I was judge. I also helped Kaya get it on the ground or off the ground and get it through, and fought for money for prizes and that kind of stuff.
All that jazz.
All that jazz.
All the things. Benny does all the things, y'all. What about you, Trevor?
I'm Trevor. I am a product manager here at Progress. I oversee infra, app delivery, and our marketplace teams. And I serve the role of mentor during this esteemed event. So glad to be here. Glad to see all the winners coming through and seeing the results of this awesome contest.
Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. So let's kind of like, I guess, do a what is it, post-mortem of the hackathon. I kind of want to hear like some feedback from you guys. Did anybody have like a favorite project? Don't all speak at once because I know there were some bangers. Like there were some really great projects in there, but who had a favorite, and if so, like why? And which one was it and why?
Yeah, so I have two like personal favorites. Obviously, both of them are infra based. So there was
Okay.
one that was kind of cook style related. That one's close to my heart because I regularly do things with cook style. So it was how to run cook style regularly, and just I've seen other implementations of that, and this implementation is really really cool. I know the person anyway, but I thought that implementation with that team, what they did was like, oh, that's actually pretty sweet and it's pretty smart, and I like that implementation. And there was another one that I felt like my face was melting as I was reading through it and the demonstration was going on. I was like, what? And then what are you doing? What? Sorry. And then what happened? And then I'm pretty sure I swore at the video several times. There were too many expletives to mention on site. It was
But in a
pretty
good way.
sweet. Yeah, it was like, what are you doing? This is pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a fun time.
That is awesome.
I like the API. There was an API tool, a graphical API,
Mhm.
that was pretty cool because it allowed you to reach into a lot of things and pretty simply do a whole bunch of stuff. Saw a lot of value in that.
Nice. Yeah. Like I'm gonna be honest. And I've said this before. So I've come from a .NET background, everybody, app development. So when I hear hackathon, I think building apps, right? So I was interested to see what types of projects were gonna come through for a DevOps hackathon. Like I've never even heard of this concept, right? And my mind was blown. My mind was blown with some of the projects that were submitted. It was absolutely like I wouldn't have thought of any of these, but they're 100% need. Like the few that were so there were quite a few that had like some really good business cases, and they solved some really interesting problems in the DevOps community that some folks probably didn't even know existed. So I think that's pretty awesome.
I think for
Cool.
me, I want to call out. So one of our goals, I think, for this was to kind of reach a new audience, right? And so for me, seeing all of the stuff that was like, I mean, yeah, it was pretty basic, and they might not have scored very high with the judges because it wasn't flashy. But watching people learn new stuff and then put in that effort and get something submitted, for me, that's huge. That's
Yeah.
it's so it gladdens my heart to watch the new people come in and see something cool and see something that we think is cool and continue on that, right?
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean,
Oh,
there was one that wasn't flashy at all, but I scored it so high because I was like, well, that works. I was like, yep, good. Thanks very much. It's like it wasn't big,
exactly.
it wasn't complicated. It just did what it needed to do, and that was really really cool to see.
I wouldn't say
right.
any in particular, but for me, as a product manager, it's fun to see the things that sort of align with the direction that we're looking at too. But it's nice to see that people are sort of thinking along the same lines that we are, which is always what you hope for when building products. But
Yes.
it's nice to see people are thinking along the same lines and trying out new things that kind of fit in the same vein that we're looking at.
Yeah. You know what? And that's an interesting concept, or it's an interesting point that you brought up, because like we're thinking of one of my questions here is actually what's the biggest takeaway that you feel that participants you know should take away from this experience. But I think even from a product perspective, I mean, there were some really great ideas that would even possibly influence some of our products in the future. And I think that's awesome because that's something that you don't even really think about, you know? But
I mean, historically, some of the best ideas we've had come through Chef as an organization came from some of our Chef Conf hackathons. A little
there you go.
prototype that somebody built that wound up springing into some big thing that became a core part of the ecosystem.
Yeah, there you go. Like, do you have off the top of your head, can you think of at least one of those products that may have come from a hackathon?
I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Okay, you can stew on it. Stew on it. John, You so you're also one of the mentors, right? I know you've well, what was the process like for being a mentor in this virtual hackathon? It's probably like I would imagine, it's not as involved as an in-person hackathon, but have you had any teams come to you with some challenges? And if so, can you talk about some of those?
Well, it was interesting because early on, and the whole scope of the hackathon is doing good,
Mhm.
so there are actually submissions that reflect that. It's not just sort of technology. There's one about childhood depression and dealing with folks like that.
Right.
I think, early on, people in the channel were trying to be like, what qualifies? And, when you say almost anything, it's a broad swath. But
Yeah.
I think really people took to heart, the challenge. And, I didn't get a lot of specific questions. There were some as people were sort of diving into different aspects of the chef ecosystem. But, I was impressed by the level of expertise really across the board in the final results.
Awesome. Awesome. So who of this group has either judged or mentored in a hackathon prior to this? Benny, cool. Like, so was it in person or virtual?
In person, of course. It was pre-COVID.
Oh, pre-COVID. Okay. Okay. Cool. So do you think that um the projects that were submitted were kind of like on par with what you've seen in the past, or like how do you think this one compares?
Yeah, so I the two or three that I've judged before have always been like 48-hour ones. So
Yeah.
you start at 10 a.m. on Saturday and you end at like midnight on Sunday. And those are obviously those are going to end up with wildly different projects than something where you have 6 weeks to put together an idea and the code and test it and all of that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
But the quality of the ideas is exactly the same. Like
Awesome.
you can flesh out an idea in a short-term hackathon almost as well as when you have 6 weeks. But for me, the execution was the exciting, right? Like you had so much more time to execute them and that kind of stuff. I mean, this is going to be true forever. I think in person has a very different feeling, right? Like you're never going to have the same types of interactions, the same like, hey, what are you guys working on? Maybe I can help you. No, that's not really for me. What are you guys working on? That's harder to achieve digitally, but it's still been really cool to watch people team up and get together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. So I haven't had any like previous experience, but I'm definitely like looking forward to doing more hackathons in the future. Does anybody else like plan on doing other ones in the future after this experience?
Yeah, definitely. Either I'm either going to judge one or be part of one again. I think it'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I quite like the in-person ones. Like Benny was saying, sometimes you can just wander across one of the group doing something interesting and be like, oh, I know how to fix that right now. I can go fix this right now. Or, but the 6 weeks was pretty sweet. And then like the quality of ideas, the complexity of the ideas over 6 weeks is really, really cool. I like it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and it reminds me, I'm dating myself, but there was an MTV competition with a Madonna song where they had people create music videos. And they gave the winner, it was a lot of money, like I think over $100,000 or something like that.
Oh.
And you saw the scope of the participants from pretty simple, and this is pre-mobile phone days, to like full-fledged, commercial quality results. And I think, that's part of the excitement of a hackathon. You see new people approach it, and you see experienced people approach it, and there's no one that's better than the other. Because sometimes those simple things, the people who are advanced tend to look past or take for granted certain things. And those new users or people that feel like they're not necessarily experts can still produce some really high quality outcomes. And, to me, that's the best part. I've witnessed hackathons in previous jobs, and I always wanted to be part of it. I used to be a big fan of the Ben Heck Show, which was a streaming show about makers and things like that. And he was always going to hackathons, and basically broadcasting them. And it's exciting to see the collaboration and people working together. The deadline pressure that Benny was talking about earlier is always an interesting factor. But it's exciting to see what's coming out of the minds of folks.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Cool. Well, you know what? I think it's time to get into the announcement. Like, who's ready? Who is ready? I know
I'm ready.
we've got
Let's
a
do it.
few
Let's
folks
do
on
it.
this team. Hmm? We've got
I
a few
said let's
folks.
do it.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Cool. I've got slides to share because this is important. All right. So, all right. So, okay, come on, Canva. All right, let's recap the rules. The rules were very broad here. There's to build a system of automation that improves the lives of anyone in the DevOps world using at least one of the pieces of Chef's software suite. Now, we also actually opened this up to be improve the lives of anyone in the DevOps community, but also just improving the lives of anyone overall, like humanity. So we ran the gamut here and we made it super broad. And that's why we got such great submissions. Let's first prize wins $15,000. Second prize, 10 grand. Third prize, 5. We've got 4 betations. They win at pros. And we have 2 most promising idea honorable mentions. And they win PS5s. And everyone who submitted a project that qualified gets a submitter swag pack. And that is a t-shirt, stickers, and a Badger badge. So everybody's a winner, but some people just win more than others. All right. So for most promising idea, we've got Style Leah by Jason Field and Arthur Condas, Pie Chef by Kibik Pawlowski, Kitchen UI by Mehul Kumar Narala, and One Push by Dhruv Kanogia. Congratulations. Where's my applause? Hold on. Got some applause for you guys. All right. So next we've got best implementation, and we've got 2 teams for that. Best implementation. Azure Compliance Checker using Chef Inspect and GitHub Actions by Ambly KK. And Automating for Failures and Chaos Engineering with Chef by Astro A and Paras Patodi. Congratulations. You all are awesome. Let me give you some applause. Come on. I'm going back and forth, guys. Wait, bear with me. All right. So Now is the moment you've all been waiting for. Oh, that was the wrong one. All good. All good. Third place. Third place goes to Marcelo Zambrana for automating data analytics environments. Congratulations.
Yay!
Marcelo. Yay! Applause. You are going to win our $5,000 cash prize. Woo! Second place. Second place goes to Autoscaling Jupyter Hub by Dustin Wilson. Woo! Dustin, you get our $10,000 cash prize. Cheers for Dustin. Oh, in first place, Thomas Heinen with generic res resource for support, or excuse me, generic res resource support for Chef and NetApp on tap. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and go with that on tap.
It's a mouthful, but it's good.
I'm gonna go with that. Woo! Congratulations, Thomas. Hold on, let me go back to the applause here because we need extra applause. You got the $15,000 grand prize. Congratulations to everyone, all of our participants. This was a great turnout, amazing projects, amazing submissions. Like, the team was awesome. Just happy to be a part of this, everybody. Let's turn this off and bring in, because we've got Thomas backstage with us. Thomas didn't know his prize.
I didn't. I really didn't.
Congratulations, Thomas.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy.
How do you feel?
Rewarded, I guess. Really happy. I didn't really suspect it. There were a lot of strong entries.
Oh, yes.
But I'm happy to have made it.
Can you give the audience an overview of your project for those who didn't read the?
I can try. It's not only a mouthful and a title, but it's also a bit complex. So the video got a bit out of hand. So basically, I implemented a new type of resource generically for Chef, which allows people potentially, if you ever include it into the Chef core, maybe to easily write support for REST API-based products. And it's not really important which ones. It could be some network devices, it could be storage devices, or maybe your home automation system. Easy to write new resources and then execute those.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thomas, how long have you been working with Chef? How long have you been working with Chef? First question.
Yeah, I've been working with Chef, I think, a bit more than 5, maybe close to 6 years now.
Oh, okay.
Been working with other automation 2 years in advance, but then switched to the right one. So
there you go. There you go. Shameless plug.
Pretty good journey.
Awesome. So you're like a vet in the game.
Yeah, a bit of market.
Yeah. Well, what inspired your project idea?
I guess the idea came basically from my girlfriend, because she has administrated those NetApp ONTAP systems for many years, and I always heard about those things basically during dinner when we talked about work. And so originally the idea was basically the second part of the title, because I wanted to do that NetApp ONTAP support for the storage systems. And I guess 2 weeks deadline, it occurred to me that basically I got it the wrong way around, because the REST API stuff is basically the main key player. So such a convoluted idea, I guess.
Okay. That is like I think so. I think the thing that might have been Benny as judges like chime in here, but like it's like a your project is a really good business case for right now. So like, please, Dan, Benny, kind of like elaborate on what made you guys choose Thomas's project.
So I think the depth of the entry. So lots of the entries are good and they worked really really well. And I was like, yeah, that's a solid entry. And then I got another solid entry, and then there's another good one. And then it came to yours, and I was like, what? Sorry, sorry, what? I made that face for about 10 minutes. It was the idea quality was outstanding. Uh, Having written lots of custom resources and done lots of library things and that kind of stuff in the past, and I can see how that could be pulled into Chef Core quite easily, and kind of extending Core Chef, and that's kind of, as a community, like that's kind of thing we want as a community as well. It's like, well, we want to be able to to talk to external REST APIs on a regular basis, but we don't have that thing right now. This is how we would do it, and that was a big plug of like, that was a big sort of plugs a big hole in Chef's sort of current ecosystem, which is really really nice to see.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the
That's,
big things sitting on the top of my roadmap plans for next year.
well, so Trevor, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
generic resource for REST endpoints so that we can manage those more easily is on my list of items for the team for that Tim and Sudarshan and others have been helping put together and all that. That was one of the big ones for next year. So now I won't comment on to how easy or not it's going to be to pull it into Chef Core, but it'll certainly be a place to start if it's not in a place we can just.
Yeah. Well, Trevor.
Thank you, Thomas.
Right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, Trevor, from a product management perspective, like what was it like having that come across as a hackathon entry? Like, and you already had it on your roadmap. Like, what was the level of surprise? Like, was it oh my god, I can't, or was this already on your roadmap, or did this become on your roadmap as a result? Like, how did that?
This was already on the roadmap. In fact, I think as Thomas pointed out in his entry, we were talking about targeting remote systems at ChefConf 2021.
Yep.
This has been known as something that we're going to be focusing on in the next year. This potentially just gives us a great point to jump off from, right? Because the foundation we needed to be able to target more of these remote systems that you can't deploy an agent onto or that have APIs in front of them, we needed a generic resource to do that. Now we can focus on building out specific resources for specific APIs potentially.
Nice.
You're having me vamp now and ad lib a little bit about where we go from here.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, look, this is off.
None of this is a commitment. None of this is a commitment.
Got you. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, Thomas, is this your first hackathon, or are you a veteran in hackathons as well?
No, it's the first one actually.
Oh,
And
interesting.
it started right when my vacation started, and I guess that gave me the free time to actually consider it, and it was really a nice experience.
The funny
Well, you
thing,
aced it. You
yeah,
aced it.
absolutely. And the funny thing is, we asked you to be a judge.
Yeah.
Remember it? Like, we were like, oh yeah, Thomas, you want to be a judge? He was like, well, I was thinking about submitting. And look, it's a good thing you did, because you got first place, and yeah, you wouldn't have had any compensation behind being a judge, except for like the gratitude in your heart, or like the good feeling that you get when you help people, but it doesn't, buy things. So there you go. You get to buy things with this prize.
I'm totally open to be a judge next time if you have another hackathon like this. So, sure.
Cool. Do you think you're going to be doing more hackathons in the future?
Maybe. This was kind of topic centric because I am a big advocate of Chef altogether, and it's basically a thing where I always try to come up with small improvements anyway. So it was right in my ballpark. Not quite sure if other hackathons would really motivate me that much. Let's see. Maybe. Never say never.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm
I was
happy that
just-
we were.
I was just going to ask, what's your day job, Thomas?
My day job is actually very closely related to this because I'm a chef consultant with TechRacer here in Germany and Europe, and also a trainer. So it had a big overlap with my job, and it was kind of tricky to find a topic and get approval for this to make it in my free time for the hackathon as well, because I didn't want to do some weird overlaps with stuff I already did for my work.
Ah, got
That's
you.
great. Nice job threading the needle.
As a former chef
Absolutely.
consultant, I know that feeling all too well.
Cool. Cool. Well, does anybody else have anything to add? 'Cause I'm done with my questions for Thomas. Does anybody else have any other additional questions for Thomas?
I mean, I got the real easy one.
What are you?
Thomas, should we do this again?
I totally think you should do it again. Yeah, I think not for not for participating. I kind of committed to being a judge next time, but I think seeing all the different entries popping up of people who probably never worked with Chef or InSpec, it's really a good thing, and there were really great ideas in there. So I was doing it again, and I even think that the longer time span is probably good to get accustomed with all the technologies. If you just do this in a 48-hour hackathon, it's probably harder for these people to get into all the tooling and so on. So I think it's really
That's
great
for
one.
sure. Well, cool.
Yeah, nothing motivates like an actual project, right? Like you can sort of tinker around, but when you dive into a project and it changes how you think about it, and of course, if it's a competition and there's a time limit, we're human beings and we respond to those things.
Yeah.
Good.
What I'd love to know from yourself and from anyone else who's kind of like is part of the hackathon or was thinking about doing it is, how does 6 weeks feel as a project length as well? Because when I first saw the 6 weeks, I was like, that's a really long time. But actually, if you're doing it and you're part of your day job, or it's part of the end of work, 6 weeks is probably just enough time. Because
I really struggled at the end,
6 weeks
so
is
I guess 6 weeks is a good time. I kind of was happy that it wasn't 8 weeks because I kind of needed vacation after vacation. But at least that gave me a good excuse to learn about video editing and stuff like that. So that requirement was also a nice one.
Yeah, a lot of the videos are really good.
Yeah. That was kind of like a
all the video editors.
You bring up an interesting point too, and it's, if anything positive has come out of COVID, it's having the time to do that work, and you can collaborate. Of course, you can still, I think people are getting better at that. But the door to entry for new users is wider for a longer, runway. That if you're really good, you can get something done in 48 hours because you understand the ecosystem and the tooling. But longer opens the door for a lot more people to participate. Strikes me that way.
For sure. So what are you going to do with the money?
Doing the old chef hackathons in half a day before everybody left for the airport after ChefConf. It wasn't a lot of time to get things put together. And I think a lot of really interesting ideas ended right there because there was not really time to pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of those hackathons was like the chef resource inspector, I think it was, or the
Oh yeah.
grabbing descriptions from custom resource properties. I was like, I need this, but none of us had any time to work on it. I had like an hour. By the time like the main person had their flight booked for midday or something, I was like, I really need this.
That's great. It's a great tool. I actually used it for generating documentation for cookbooks. So good to know that that's also a hackathon entry. Cool.
Yeah.
There, we found our example.
Wait, yeah, I missed it. I missed that one. What was the actual tool?
I think it was a chef resource inspector. It was either like built for the hackathon just before, like it was around the hackathon time. I think it was for the hackathon or in the hackathon,
Sweet.
which is cool.
That is awesome. So that I mean that goes to show that we really should continue doing these because like some really good ideas come out of them that are useful in the, for the future. Sweet. Cool. Well, unless there's anything else, we might be able to wrap up, guys. What do y'all think?
Well, you did have one other question for Thomas that I interrupted.
Oh, what are you doing with the money, Thomas?
Yeah, basically, my girlfriend and me wanted to renovate our house a bit to make it more eco-friendly, stuff like renewable energies and so on. I guess use it right for that one to get our better CO2 footprint. So I guess it's
That's awesome.
fitting.
Do it for good.
I thought you were going to say you were
Yeah,
going to buy more
exactly. No.
That's awesome.
No more NetApp, please. I learned so much about it. My head is exploding about it.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's great.
That's great. It's going towards a good cause. Happy to hear that. Like, let's reduce, reuse, and recycle. Awesome.
I mean, it matches the theme of the hackathon, so that seems perfect.
Yep, absolutely. All right, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and celebrating with us. And congratulations to all of the winners and all of the participants. Thank you for submitting. This was a rough road, especially for the folks who spanking new at this. You had to create an idea from like a very broad set of rules, and in 6 weeks start from scratch, some of you, and learn chef and put something together that was great. And I applaud everyone that took the time to submit a project. And it sounds like we're going to be doing this again, so stay tuned. Awesome. Well, I'll give you guys all back a few minutes, and you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks,
Brilliant.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.